Well, you know, Rudy, it's been one of those things that we've been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it's, I feel, also one of those things that, at least for me personally, actually for several of us in the newsroom, we were like collectively, oh, I'll cross that bridge, that emotional bridge when I get to it, when it'll be Rudy's last week with us at 3 News. And now it's here. Your last show will be the 6 o'clock on Thursday. How does that feel?
Surreal. Looking back at 47 years, 23 here with my Channel 3 News family, it went by like a flash. One day I was covering the courthouse and trials and hearings and things of that nature, and anchoring the 5 o'clock and rushing to edit and get ready for the 5, and doing live shots at 6, and now, you know, anchoring the 6 and 10 for the last few years after the departure of Joe Gazin. It really has gone by much faster than I would have liked. You know, you want these good moments to last forever. I've got to say, there have been lots of great moments here at 3 News, especially with the family that we have in place now. And by family, I mean the 3 News family, because everyone here pretty much is a member of our family. They, in one way or another, contribute more than just, you know, our day-to-day news coverage. They're our family, and we treat each other as such. And so it's bittersweet, as you said during one of our newscasts this week. While I'm looking forward to this new beginning, it's hard to walk away from someone you've known for so long, and then know that they will no longer be part of your daily life. So it'll be a little difficult at first.
Maybe not part of your daily life, but we will always be here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And to be very, very clear, Rudy is still going to be here every Sunday morning with Barbie for the Mingo Live.
Yes, and that's something that I'm continually reminded of, first of all, by Barbie.
Yeah, you're not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere. And secondly, by family members, and I'm talking this time externally, my family, saying, hey, look, we're going to still see you on Sundays, right? I mean, we've got primos and primas and tios and tias and uncles and aunts, and, you know, folks who for the last 23 years have grown accustomed to seeing me and my co-host and being a part of their Sunday morning routine. So that would be a double blow for me if I were to leave Treviño, and I'm not going to do that. It's just one of those things that, you know, was not that difficult to say I'm going to stick around, but yet I know that my new job, my new challenges are going to be different, though they will allow me to be here and still continue to be part of the family. And that's something that both Channel 3 and Texas A&M University Kingsville came to an agreement. Hey, let's keep this guy where he is. He's doing a good job. So I guess as long as the bosses think that I'm doing an okay job, I'm going to stick around.
What a blessing. Now, I do want to get into your news career, because there's a lot to delve into there. But first, let's go ahead and talk about what's happening at Texas A&M Kingsville. You obviously have known about this for several months, but it wasn't until very recently that you got to share that news with everybody about where you're headed. Thankfully, it is down the road. It is super close with our great friends at Texas A&M Kingsville. So talk to us about, you know, what is that role? Do we have to call you something different now?
No, you don't have to call me anything different. But the title they've given me is Director and Professor of Practice for this new, yet to be created department that is going to focus on the preservation and promotion and documenting of our South Texas cultural music, that is Tejano. But it's not just going to focus on Tejano, it's going to focus on all of our indigenous South Texas music. And you know, we have everything from country to jazz. I mean, our jazz festival is here. We're going to look back and document and trace the roots and its beginnings and how South Texas played a role in the successes, not only of the great artists that we've grown to love, like Selena, but so many others that may have been forgotten along the way. So it's interesting because it's not just going to be about music, it's going to be about the video and film that was left behind by many of them. And one of those programs, of course, that we're going to focus on in preserving is the original Domingo Peña show. Much of it is believed to have been lost, but we've discovered some small catches throughout South Texas that people have that are going to be donated to the university, and we're going to start there and kind of build out. And it's just going to be a project that really is very close to my heart because we have some very talented folks, and there was a beginning to all of them, and they were all inspired by someone. And so those folks who were the inspiration to some of the stars that we know of today had a beginning. And many times these stars that have long been forgotten were mega stars long before there was an internet, long before we had CDs or cassettes or 8-tracks. These folks were stars on the airwaves, on radio, and in the early beginnings of television. So long forgotten, but we're going to bring them back and try to recall who they are and their contributions to our genre.
Yeah, so this is definitely a job in a position that just feels as though it was truly tailor-made for you, and it was in many ways. And you know what's really cool, obviously, about our job is we know in this market here in Corpus Christi, we have a lot of reporters who come to this station to start out their careers, right? And here in this position, you're going to be receiving a lot of students, young adults who are in that chat before they even go and launch their careers. Right. Such an interesting phase of life. And what is the most important thing? What is the biggest thing you want those students to take away from working with this department, with these courses? We
at the university have such a diverse student body from all parts of the country, of course throughout South Texas, and a lot of the folks that I've had the privilege of sitting down and speaking with prior to this all expressed an interest in learning more about their roots and where they came from, and music being one aspect of their lives. So it's going to be interesting to see these young faces wanting to know about the artists that Domingo Peña himself featured way back in the 60s and 70s. There is an interest there, if for nothing more to understand better where it is that you came from, where that student came from, where their roots are planted, and why it is that when on Domingo Live they see a particular group and perhaps maybe their mother or grandparents get up and dance and enjoy it, they'll want to know and they'll get the answers as to why their parents feel as they do.
A lot of connecting dots. It'll be full circle. That's so cool. Well, Texas A&M Kingsville certainly getting the best of the best. No doubt about it there. We're so happy for them as well. It's a big congratulations to them. But let's go ahead and go now into your news career. That's a big thing. I think when a lot of young journos look at what you've done, all the things that you've done in your news career, it's like, wow, he really did it all. And then you were also in the Navy. Like you literally, Rudy, did everything, all the accolades. And this was a career that started long before you even came to KIII.
Yeah, I started in radio when I was 13.
13?
13 years old.
Wow.
At a little AM station in my hometown in Beeville, a 250-watt radio station. And my first time on the air was as a freshman from the high school that was doing a midday 30-minute radio show, and it was a big deal. And so I still have the cassette when I go on the air for the very first time, and that was at age 13. And I was inspired because I used to listen to radio and watch the news from Channel 10. Back then it was Walter Furley and the crew from the early 60s. And so I was hungry for news and wanting to know more about what was around us, especially having grown up in such a small community like Beeville at that time. And so, I mean, the career started at that age, but my real professional career started January 30th of 1978, the day I was released from active duty and went into active reserves. And I got a call from the local station, Channel 6, and they were looking for someone with experience in shooting video, editing, writing, and reporting. And so I was at the door 30 minutes after I was released and was hired 20 minutes later. And I went out and did a live shot soon after that.
How was that live shot?
That live shot was crazy because they handed me a microphone and said, okay, you're going to do the story on the one of the Columbus's ships that was arriving from Spain that day at the port of Corpus Christi. And that was my first live shot, is the arrival of the first Columbus ship to visit, not to stay, because as you know, the history is they eventually got all three of the ships to come in and be part of Corpus Christi history. But this was the very first time that one of the ships had actually made its way here, actually sailed by sailors from Spain. So it was kind of cool.
You never forget your first live shot.
No.
You just never do, no matter who you are, right? Then of course you were in California and then came back home.
Yeah, there was some in-betweens though as well. When I left Channel 6, it just so happens that I left, I think it was in April of the year following, like in '79, and lo and behold, my first story there was the coverage of the assassination of the first federal judge in more than 100 years, the assassination of federal Judge John Wood Jr. And it just so happened that our news director at that time basically sent me and my photographer out to basically listen to the scanner and listen for traffic, and we heard something that sounded interesting, that there'd been a shooting, and then we figured out it happened in some pretty exclusive condos in San Antonio, and we were the first reporting team to arrive. What's so interesting is that we had a live truck, but our camera gear was still 16 millimeter film. So within minutes, the place was flooded with police officers and EMS, and we basically, sadly, I mean, I had a front row seat to this very, very tragic event. So from that point on, and for the next 3 days, I was doing live shots for not only the station there, the channel 4, which is NBC. I was also doing live morning shots, live morning cut-ins for the Today Show.
And what you mentioned there, having that front row seat to tragedy, and that's a big thing in this job, right? Is we have a front row seat to a lot of huge moments, nationally, internationally, here locally, and I will say that it helps whenever you have a partner to share those big moments with, the good and the bad. And the co-anchor relationship is it's such an interesting one, because there has to be, for it to work well, there has to be a level of trust. And also, like, you got me, I got you. And I'm so grateful that I found that in you, a family and a friend. And your work as a journalist, especially in the courts, helping families find justice is so important. And I know over the course of your amazing dream career that you have worked with so many teams, so many anchors, producers, reporters that are so proud of you, including these goobers. These crazies will be extremely proud of you.
That's my family right there. You know,
we're going to miss you, Rudy.
I'm going to miss being here. I still have yet to even give it a thought that I won't be anywhere near a television set at 6 o'clock or at 10, or behind or in front of a camera during that time. And that's coming kind of to fruition in my mind. And that's what makes it difficult to grasp that after 47 years of either being in front of a camera or behind it in one way or another, being a part of a news team will cease to exist as I know it. While my news director insisted that I keep my desk and the name on there, I don't know what he has planned. But I'm only guessing that he might call me up one day and say, hey, can you come in? But I mean, the beauty of this is that I am still connected
Always.
connected to Channel 3, connected to the 3 News family. And that in itself is a blessing.
I do have one last question as we wrap up here. And obviously we have so many different words that we would use to describe because we all love you so, so much. How do you want to be remembered?
That's a toughie. I've asked that question of so many different people throughout my career, and I know how they felt because they had to think about it. And most had only one answer. And most of them said that they just want to remembered for a contribution that they may have made to society. And while my job as a journalist was contributing facts and news and features and storytelling, I sometimes think that maybe that was not enough. I feel that that was only part of my job and part of what I would want to be remembered for. The big thing being is that I leave behind an idea that if you have a dream and you have the desire to work hard, that you can achieve anything. And I know that may be a bit corny, because we've heard that in movies before, but in reality, really, it does pay off in the end.
And you are a living testament to that. Your contributions to the community, to us as a newsroom with veteran reporters, anchors, and also young journalists. It's so important. Your work in journalism is so crucial and so important. So thank you for being the local legend that you are, the hometown hero. We are all so proud of you, Rudy.
Thank you.
I'm so happy that we're going to still see you right here on the Mingle Live in this very studio. But congratulations, we will miss you, and we're so proud of you.
Thank you, thank you.
Can
I
we
look
hug
forward to
now?
the future. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Oh, my friend.
It's been an honor.
Oh, Rudy.
It's been an honor.
Here you go. This is yours. You're like, oh, I didn't want that.
I'll take care of this. Can I have your autograph?
Yes. Big 3 all over it.
There you go.